Hey, what's up, everyone? Morey here, and today we're going to be going over how to guarantee improvement in your speed by simply creating a plan. We're going to start off by identifying your strengths and weaknesses in your body, like your strength, your power, your speed, some of the things within your speed, like your mechanics, the flexibility. And then we're going to create certain goals that we want to be able to achieve in order to make it so you can actually get to the sprinting that you want to get to, whether it's a mile an hour, whether it's a certain time. And then we'll also go over a 7-day example plan, go in depth into some of the exercises you'd want to be doing and some of the focuses you'd want to really concentrate on based off of what it is that you're looking to improve. So I'll go ahead and hop right into it. We have a lot of different things to talk about, starting off with, like I said, the strengths and weaknesses. And I think there's a key thing that we want to be able to identify here within your body, which is what is your overall strength, your overall power, which is going to be like jumping, vertical jump, broad jump, things like that, your speed, and then I said also your quickness as well as the flexibility. So take an honest assessment of yourself. What are your assets? What are your liabilities? What are your strengths? What are your weaknesses? So what are you already good at, right? Are you already pretty strong in your upper body or your lower body, your core, your balance? Or maybe you need more power, vertical, horizontal, single leg. So these are all things that you want to kind of take inventory of. I did this with myself and went into the weaknesses here, kind of knowing my strengths. Be as honest as you can, right? You got to even look at yourself. Even if you're great at a wide variety of different things, you still have weaknesses, things that are maybe not as good, maybe jumping off of one leg or your drive phase or your start or your flexibility. We all have areas that we want to improve. And if this already is a challenge for you, then you can get a lot of value just by taking some time to be able to assess where your strengths, what are your weaknesses. It's not like you're admitting to being a failure or anything because you're identifying your weaknesses. It's normal to identify weaknesses, it's normal to identify strengths, and it also can end up being a very beneficial exercise. For my individual program, I'm going to be using this as the example. The weaknesses from the strength perspective, to me, I would say are the calves and the hip flexors. Those are two things that I would really want to be able to isolate on improving. And just because those are like the weaknesses doesn't mean I'm not going to do exercise to improve my hamstrings and my glutes and my upper body, things like that. Just what are the main things that I need to be focusing more time on? Same thing with my power, my foot contact, my vertical, a more max effort type of power exercises. Again, this was helpful going through because it just kind of made me realize like I do a lot of jumps, but I don't do very many max effort jumps. And so adding that would probably be beneficial. And then for speed, my acceleration, my foot height, my push off, those are going to be the main things that I really want to be able to improve on within that. And then flexibility, hip flexors, outside the hip, left hamstring, internal rotation of the shoulders. That's another thing that I would like to improve. So identify some of the weaknesses, but then also take a second and say, okay, what am I willing to sacrifice to make it so I can actually achieve some of these goals? What's the time I'm going to be able to sacrifice, or what time am I currently using that I can use for helping myself in improving in these areas? Willing to give up money? What amount of time per week, per day? What kind of sacrifices will I have with some of the relationships that I have? I think these are all important things to be able to at least recognize. So then you can say, okay, I can isolate this amount of time per week to make it so then I can get better in these particular areas, especially when you set up your particular goals, right? So with saying, okay, this is the amount of sacrifice I'm going to give up, I'd also say you want to get very specific into the goals that you want to be achieving, whether it is running maybe 11 seconds in the 100-meter, 5-minute mile, running 22 miles an hour top speed, a 40-inch vertical squat. So we want to be able to have specific measurements that we're going to be able to achieve. And I'd also say, when do you want to get that particular speed? And it could be a progression. It could be something that, you're going to be able to improve over the course of a year, and you want to see this improvement in 3 months, 6 months. And the reason I say that is just real quick, and I want to give a shout out to everybody here because I did recently get my 100,000 subscribers, and this is all because of people like you that are watching the video here. And about 8 months ago, I was at a 25,000 subscribers, just maybe 30, somewhere in there. And I made a goal that I wanted to get to 100,000. And when I first made that goal, goal, in my mind, it was like, no way, I was not thinking that this was even a possible thing at the end of the year. Cause that was the thing too, is I said at the end of the year, I want to have 100,000 subscribers. So I got to work on being able to do that, and obviously got to that in a lot faster than I realized at that time, right? This was again about 8 or 9 months ago. I was getting, if I got 20 subscribers in a day, I was pumped. I was so high. So in my mind, it was like, there's no way I'm going to get even close to 100,000. And that's why it's important to set those goals, right? Maybe you can't see how you're going to run 11 seconds. You can't see how you're going to run 23 miles an hour, but write down the goal. What is going to make it so you're going to have to stretch yourself and become better and really get specific and find out more about you? That's what you want to be able to commit to. Do you have inside of you that you're willing to sacrifice, that you're willing to commit to, that would make this whole thing worth it? Don't spend time on this if it's not going to be worth it for you at the end. So once you kind of identify some of the weaknesses, what you identify some of the goals, some of the things that you want to achieve, now I think it's important to be able to say, okay, based off of that, this is about what I want to be able to do, or this is how you can take some time every day to get closer to that goal. So I have 2 to 3 days of strength and power development, 2 to 3 days of speed development. So my audience is typically people that are looking to get faster. You don't have to use this to get faster, but I do think getting specific into speed, if that's what you want to do, you should spend 2 to 3 days on that. And then we'll have a few other days or things that could be more coordination, athleticism, drills, agility. So there's a couple other days that we could add in there based off of what it is that you need to get better. So within the strength and power days, we are focusing on the main improvement areas. So whether that is squatting a certain amount, that's for me, the big thing is I want to get back into a over 350 pound squat. And so I've been really focusing on improving that. I don't have any particular event or anything that I am training for in terms of like the season. And so for me, the main focus is on just improving my speed, getting up into 22 miles an hour and getting over a 350 pound squat. Those are like the two main goals that I have. And even going through this, I want to get back into more max effort jumping. Then you want to be able to identify, what do I need to do in order to achieve that? Is it my speed endurance? Is it my power? What is it that I need to get better in order to achieve my goals? 5-minute mile, maybe it is how fast you're cycling your legs. Maybe it's your overall power. Maybe it's your strength training program. Whatever it is, you want to be able to say, okay, these are the main improvements that I need to make within my sprinting or running or programming. And it's important, I think, to break it down. The more you could break it down, the more specific you can get into what you're trying to improve, then the easier it's going to be to make a program that's going to be beneficial for you. If you're going through and just kind of saying, oh yeah, I want to be able to run 11-second 100-meter, and just saying that, then you're not going to be able to really get to that position because it's not specific enough. You don't really know what you need to do in order to get it. Is it your mechanics? Is it your foot contact time? Is it your amount of steps, right? Like Usain Bolt takes 41 steps when he ran the 958. Typically, guys that are running low 10 are taking around 45 to 47 steps. People that are running closer to 11 seconds are closer to 48 to 50 steps. And so maybe you're taking too many steps in the 100-meter. Maybe you are not taking enough steps, right? Maybe you're taking 41 steps to run a 13-second 100. That would be crazy, but that is certainly a possibility, because now you can get specific and, okay, I need to be more explosive. My foot contact time maybe is too long. So you want to even look at your 10-meter flies, right? Again, typically people that are running 10-second 100 meters, their flies are down into 0.86, 0.87 in 10-meter. Okay, so they're able to get to very, very fast speeds. But if you don't know your 10-meter fly, then you really don't know how much improvement you need to be making in order to get down to maybe a 10-second 100 or 11-second 100. And then in 11-second 100, those guys are typically running up to 0.96 in the 10-meter flies or 0.95. So just to give you an idea of some of the things that you need to be able to achieve in order to get to your goal. And I would recommend, when it comes to the strength and power part of it, you spend 2 to 3 days that are focused on both developing strength and power, which means that you're doing strength as well as jumps. And then there could be one day where you can maybe be focusing on one in particular one, especially if you have certain goals that are pertaining to that. Another thing is speed development. So getting back into what we were just talking about, is it stride length? Is it your leg cycle? Is it your top speed? Is it your acceleration, your foot strike, your endurance? I would have one day where you're focusing on your top speed and your ability to develop top speed, and one day where you're really focusing on your acceleration. You could have another day where you're focusing a little bit more on your mechanics or a certain part of your endurance or something along those lines, especially for people that are running a little bit longer distances. You may need to have more of a technique mechanic type of a day, but I would spend at least one day that has more focus on top speed, at least one day that has more focus on your acceleration. I do think that if you're looking to improve your speed, the best way to be able to do that is through acceleration. If you're kind of new to sprinting and maybe looking to, again, improve your 100-meter, but don't have much experience out of the blocks, I would work a lot more out of the blocks. Or if you're looking to run a faster 40 and don't know how to get into a three-point stance, or don't have a great three-point stance, I would definitely spend a good amount of time working on your acceleration. By the way, these are per week, right? 2 to 3 days a week, 2 to 3 days a week of strength and power. And again, if this might be something that you need to spend an extra day on, especially if you are maybe really strong already, right? Football players are typically pretty strong and are spending enough days in the weight room, but maybe need to spend a few more days doing speed, where maybe track guys, you guys are doing a lot of sprinting and are spending a lot of time on the track, where maybe you need to take a couple days and really concentrate on the strength. And this is, again, based off of where you are. The next thing is another extra days, right? Is it an endurance day maybe? So the Echo bike I use, the treadmill, hill work, sand work, maybe you need more days for stretching, right? Maybe your flexibility isn't great and you need to spend more dedicated time to flexibility. The reason that writing this all out was important was because now it gets very specific into, okay, with all these things into consideration, right? There's already so many different distractions that are coming in all these different areas: social media, school, job, work, blah, 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 family, relationships. There's so many things that are going on. And so if you don't take the time to really create a plan and isolate what it is that you're going to be doing, then it gets very overwhelming. So you want to take some time. This shouldn't take very long, maybe an hour every week. But again, this is a commitment. So if I met you and asked you about your sprinting, like what is your goal for sprinting? You say, I want to run 10 seconds, or I want to run 22 miles an hour. And then my next question was, okay, that's great. What's your plan to get there? And you didn't have an answer, then that would tell me a lot about where you were in your development of getting to that goal. If I was going to ask you when you're going on vacation somewhere, and let's say you're going on a week vacation, I asked you, what's your plan during the week? You'd probably be able to say, oh, we're planning on going here. We're planning on doing this, going there. I really want to see this. I really want to see that. So you have a plan for a vacation, but you don't have a plan for your future, for your improvement, for your ability to get faster. And so that's, I think, the issue for a lot of people. That's why I'm making this video, is because you're just not taking the time to create a plan of your future and making it so you could really see what that plan and watch it unfold. If you don't take that time, then the likelihood of it happening is significantly less than the people that do. So the reason that just taking this time is important is to make it so now you can look at it and make the adjustments and the improvements necessary to make it so then you can actually achieve the plan. Because you'll go and you'll look at this for 3 months from now and maybe say, okay, I got to this goal, now this is what's next. Or I didn't get to this goal, and here's what's next. Or this took too much out of me, or I can do more, I could put more into it. So the way to be able to assess it and see if it's working is by creating a plan, so then you know this worked, this didn't work, take things out, plug things in, become a student of your success and your failures, right? The idea is to put yourself out there to potentially fail, so then you can learn, then you can get better. The next thing that we'll go into here is just like an example program. So based off of the things that I wrote down and the things that I wanted to be able to get better at, this is kind of what I've been doing to be able to achieve that. So 22 miles an hour, 11 seconds in the 100, a 40-inch jump, jump, 350 squat. Those are kind of my general things that I want to get better at. And then I would say get more flexible too. I need to be able to get more range in my knees. Sometimes I get some knee pain when I'm playing football. And so I want to make it so that's not an issue. And it's actually not been too bad of an issue in the past 6 or 7 months, where really when I was in my 20s, my knees were feeling terrible. Now being in my 30s, I feel like I'm as healthy as I've ever been in a lot of ways. Here's an example week for me. So it'd be squat 5x5, adding weight as I go, maybe getting up into 315, depending on where I'm at. Just working on my range of motion. And typically I'll do a set of squats and then I'll do some of these accessory movements, dorsiflexion in the kettlebell, some band assisted jumps. And in between those, I'll do another set of squats, right? So maybe I'll do the side lunge, dorsiflexion, then do another set of squats, then do some jumps, do another set of squats, hop on the treadmill, work on my knee drive, adding some ankle weights, do another set of squats, do some box jumps, some broad jumps, do another set of squats, and then go into some Nordic hamstring curls, ab roller, and then even in between some of those sets, be doing calf raises and my hip flexor strength. Really, my hip flexor strength, I'd be doing more with the squats, but this is going to be 13 exercises that I'll get done within a 60 to 70 minute time frame. So not only do I want to be effective with my exercise and very specific with my exercises, I also want to be very specific within my time and how long it's going to take me to complete that. I'm not going to take more than 70 minutes in the workout, and really I'd like to get as close to 60 minutes as possible. Next day, this would be Tuesday, so that would be more strength and power day, one strength and power day. This is going to be a focus on more of like cardio. With that, I also want to do some upper body stuff as well, and so we're doing assisted lunges, overhead squats, lat pulls, landmine shoulder press, triceps, high pulls, and then the big cardio is going to be echo bike. So as I'm doing all these exercises, upper body exercises, I'll also knock out a set of 20 calories on the echo bike, which is definitely not easy. Do a little bit of calf raise, quick jumps, tuck jumps, just because I want to be able to work on my power and explosiveness as well. Wednesday, we'll get into sprint technique, single leg cycles on the treadmill, 6 to 10 sprints. This would be either on the treadmill where I'm working on my max speed. It could also be it at a park working on 40s. It could also be 10-meter flies. There's a lot of different ways that you can work on your sprints. And for maybe long distance runners, this would be maybe running a few 200s, maybe a few 400s. Again, this is going to be different for everybody. We all have different goals. And so based off of what it is you're trying to achieve, you could set that up accordingly, but that's going to be more of like a sprinting day where I'm really working like my max energy, max effort. Thursday is going to be more recovery, stretching, yoga, balance. Sometimes I play football on Thursdays, so it'll be a day where I do that, not as much overall push on my body. Friday, we're getting back into strength and power, rear foot elevated split squat, hip box, single leg hip extension, leg curls, dorsiflexion. And this is big for my ankles. I'm really big on making sure my ankles are strong, having good range of motion through there. Again, calf raises. Like I said, I want to have strong calves. I want to get bigger calves. It's important to me. Max height box jump, depth drop, where you're doing lateral box jumps, power step ups, ankle jumps, and single leg moving ankle jumps. So things that will carry over to being able to sprint faster, also plyometric driven, also max height jumps, also strength for my squats. These are all things that I am going to be isolating to improve. Again, 12 exercises. Don't want it to take more than 60 to 70 minutes. And so then we'll go to Saturday, another sprint day. This one is going to be more of a acceleration focus. Maybe do some uphill broad jumps, maybe do some uphill sprints, reverse lunges. This is going to be a day where I'm really focusing on my uphill sprinting is the main focus of it. Sometimes even on Saturdays, I'll play a little bit of football as well. But again, more of a agility, acceleration type of a day for this Saturday. And then Sunday could be a makeup day, could be a day where I feel pretty fresh, want to get in a little bit more sprinting, maybe a little bit more stretching, recovery. Just kind of depends on how I'm feeling. Sometimes I'll do like more of an upper body day or makeup a day, right? If I didn't get in a workout in the week, then I will make it up on a Sunday to make it so then I can get all the things that I want to be able to achieve in. And that's currently my plan. I don't know if it's going to necessarily lead to running 22 miles an hour, but that's what I want to be able to do, or a 40-inch vertical jump. These are all things that I'm working to be able to achieve. I'll let you know in a few months as I am getting on it. This is a new plan. I just created this and then made this video. I'm leading from a position of doing the work myself, right? I'm not just saying here and saying, hey, look, good luck. You should create a plan without doing it myself. I'm also working on this as I'm going through this with you. I think it's important to set up certain goals with a time frame that you want to achieve them in. And I also think that it's important to take a look at what's working and what isn't working. Make sure that you're considering how much nutrition you're getting, what's the rest, what's the recovery, and getting specific into maybe a strength goal, right? Something that's going to be based off of what are some of the strengths you want to do, a squat, a deadlift, bench press, whatever. Power goal, something that has to do with jumping, certain broad jump length, certain vertical jump length, going into both. Speed goal, running a certain amount of speed or achieving something along those lines. And then maybe even a flexibility goal. To me, it could be touching your toes, could be getting a better pigeon. For me, it was like a pigeon stretch, getting better at the pigeon stretch, because that one's very difficult for me with my hips on the outside, especially on my right side. And so being able to get more flexibility on my right hip within my left hamstring, those are two areas that I do. And then I'd also say make sure it's something that's going to stretch you, right? Make sure it's something that's going to help you get better. I do think that if you spend this time and you really get in depth into what it is that you're doing, and maybe some of you guys, as I was going over this stuff, were able to write some things for yourself, you will be able to set up a program and a plan for you to have success. If you'd like to be able to maybe go over this with me, or spend some time to be able to work on that, would be happy to be able to do that with you guys. I do think that would be very beneficial for you. Also, if you want to find out more about some of the offers that we have in terms of programming, in terms of going over this information, I'd be happy to be able to do that with you. We do have some other videos as well that go more into sprinting mechanics. I don't typically go too much into the programming, but I probably will do more of that now that I made this video and have also started to go more into programming. So yeah, thanks for watching. I hope you, again, liked the video. If you did, like and subscribe. We have some other videos here that can be beneficial for you.